Star Wars fans, or should I say Star Wars fanatics, you need to fix up. You're going on bad. You're going on terrible and you're embarrassing yourself. You're going to look back in a few years' time and go, yo, I'm a dickhead. Because the way you're going on about this one movie, yeah, yo, yo, now I understand why nerds used to get beat up at school, why you're ostracized, because you're different, mate. You're different. Like the way that you go on about movies, like Star Wars fans, comic book fans. Now, you know, I'm both of those. I've been reading comics since I was a youth, been a Star Wars fan since I was a youth. But somewhere along the line, I realised that I was a fucking grown up. Do you know what I mean? And you know, I think there's a saying in the Bible, and it says, "Yeah, you know, when you reach a man, yeah, just put them childish things aside." So you know, what can I tell you, man? If you're reacting so emotionally to these movies, and then like and trying to, you know, I've seen some like some people try to intellectualize their fucking hatred of this film. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, come on, blood. Like the way I see it, you wanted to hate on this film, and I actually see like the backlash. It's not even about the movie, you know. It's not even about the movie. Like what I'm seeing in all of these like these videos and this, that, the other. It's not even that. It's what's the word? Oh, projection of some other shit from, you know, people saying shit like, "Oh, Luke wouldn't act like that," to "It's a SJW movie." Yo, listen, you lot are thick. It's an SJW movie. Listen, all right then. You see the whole thing with the SJW thing. Guess what? I'm an anti SJW. You know, not like you know, I don't go out and like protest the shit, but I just laugh at that shit because it's fucking stupid. All the SJW shit, yeah. Uh, Listen, The Last Jedi is a SJW movie. You're bonkers. You're absolutely bonkers. I can understand why you would probably think that, but I would suggest to you that you're going into the movie looking for shit to criticize. Now let me like point out, I can understand why you would say that. Like, okay, Laura Dern's character with the purple hair and the way how she just batted up my man. Nah, this is what really happened, yeah. You lot went in there on that SJW thing, yeah, because you've been programmed like that. We've all been programmed to be for or against, yeah. Let's just cut to the chase, yeah. The way people act on the internet is reflective of the way that you're being programmed to be absolutely contemptible, fucking hateful, narcissistic twats, yeah. But let me get back to my point about Laura Dern's character and like the things that I saw in the film, that I can understand why people would feel that it was like some SJW shit, yeah. So there's like the bits where she's badding up my man. Now some people might have like felt personally slighted by it because, you know, a woman that they don't really know is badding up like the hero of the thing, you know, the flyboy. Now my thing is, well, if your sense of self is so insecure at the sight of like a woman who in the context of the film is like a superior officer to the guy, if like your sense of self is so insecure that it is troubled by that, then I would suggest to you that your problem is not Star Wars, it's something more fundamental. And this is coming from an anti-SJW. If I see a film and like the woman is, you know, and this is in the context of the movie, do you know what I mean? She's not just like some nobody, do you know what I mean? In the context of the film, she's like a vice admiral, which means she's got superiority over my man. Sorry, that's how it goes. How many films have I seen where like, you know, like the commanding officer just bads up like the underling officer? That's how it goes. Now the fact that it's a woman and you felt away with that, that says more about you. And I'm anti SJW. The difference being that my sense of self is not affected by the fact that there might be like a strong woman in the vicinity. I'm a strong man. I don't need women to like dim themselves for me to shine. I'm just telling you straight. You jump on the SJW thing, like there's some twat is he made like a version of the film where he cuts out all the women, and then he put up a video saying I trigger SJW whatever by cutting out all the nigga, please. And the guy's got a shit-eating grin on this fucking thumbnail, yeah. He's clever, brethren. This is what this is basically what you did, yeah. You were triggered by the sight of women in the film. Do you know what I mean? You were triggered enough to make a version where there was no women in it, and then you make a video laughing at the fact that people were triggered by you making a brethren. You're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You're an absolute bomber clot, rotted idiot. About you triggered them. Of course you triggered them. You set out to. You set out to trigger them, innit? So don't like go on like you was doing something innocent. You cut out all the women from the film. I don't know why. You got a problem. Do you know what I mean? And then thought it was amazing that like whoever saw the movie, I don't care who they are, whether the SJ was or whatever, you went out there to provoke, innit? You went out there to provoke, and this is the thing about these Star Wars fans, yeah. You know what it is, yeah. Like you're grown people. Whether I don't care if you like sort of like in your 20s or whatever, you're grown people, and the way that you're behaving. Listen, you remind me of like when we was at school. I used to like, do all that kiddie shit. That's what Star Wars fans are like. They're like them they're just idiots, man. They're absolutely idiots. The way that Star Wars fans behave is idiotic, and it's embarrassing. It's like you've all watched the films, like these films about these people growing and developing and maturing and and you just didn't get the memo, because all you was bothered about is Sith. Fuck the Sith. The Sith are the most boring thing. They're a plot device, and that's it. They're not a thing. They're just a plot device. You could call them shit for all I care. I don't give a fuck about the Sith and the rule of two. It's not about that. When Star Wars first started, it was about fun, adventure, hero's journey, rescue the princess, have two jokes, beat the bad guys. That is what Star Wars is. And it makes me laugh whenever I see that clip of George Lucas and he's talking about, and he says, I think it was at a celebration, he says something like, I'm not supposed to say this, but Star Wars is for like 12-year-old boys, isn't it? And that's the secret that, like, he said, that's the one time he said it, like, at public, I gather, do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it is. It's a fucking fantasy film, it's a fantasy film. It's not even a science fiction film. So all those people like, but how can you have bombers in space? There's no gravity. Shut the fuck up. Get back to Star Trek. They deal with that kind of shit. You're idiots. And to me, you're looking for, and the reason why you're looking for to pick fault with all of these movies. I watched Justice League after hearing that it was the most terrible thing ever since The Devil, and I watched it, and you know what? I enjoyed it. Was it a deep kind of film? Was it? No. But guess what? It's a fucking comic book movie. I don't expect like any great insights from it. Do you know what I mean? Justice League ain't fucking Atlas Shrugged. Do you know what I mean? It's comic book. The comic books were like 10 cents or however much it was back in the day. That was like that change what your mum used to have in a fucking pocket. Don't go on like these things. Like these things is mass consumption bullshit. Do you know what I mean? That's all it is. Yeah, they've got like some things in there. They've got some good art, and the people take the time to make the stories. And yeah, I get all that, but it's mass. It's bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Don't go on like these things are in your mind are institutions, but. Nah, come on, man. Grow up. And in all these things as well, do you know what I mean? Like these hero things. It's like you're not getting it. Do you know what I mean? Because the way you're behaving, It's like you never listen to one thing from any of those movies. Not to say that like movies that are supposed to preach to you, but the whole thing with Star Wars is like the hero's journey, innit? And the reason why I love The Last Jedi is because my journey, that hero's journey that I underwent with Luke Skywalker, I'd done it now. And it was like I could relax. It's like, oh yeah, you've gone through your shit. You started out, you did the call to adventure, you did what you had to do. And as a grown man, you know, living in real life, I went through some shit that I had to deal with. And that's to me like the one of the messages of the Last Jedi. That, you know, we've got Luke Skywalker, the legend, do you know what I mean? He's doing his shit, he you know, he's a Jedi. And then he reaches a place, and this happens in real life. I've seen it with family members. They hit a wall, or they make a mistake, they make the wrong choice, and it breaks them. That's real. Like all that stuff in like the EU where like, yo, I never believed any of that. That shit was just corny. All that Luke went on to like teach this Jedi Academy and you know the Jedi twins. Corny. It was corny as fuck. I don't give a fuck what anybody wants to say, because as far as I was concerned, where they left it in 1983 was where they left it. Do you know what I mean? Because it had that fairy tale kind of feel to it. Which leads me to another point, like, you know, when Rogue One came out, or when it was reported, you know, it was going to come out, I hope it's dark. What the fuck? Like, Star Wars ain't dark. It's not a dark thing, man. Stop trying to... If you want dark things, go to Game of Thrones, innit? Go to Game of Thrones. I don't watch that shit. Fuck that shit. I don't like that shit. Do you know what I mean? Star Wars is Star Wars. Star Wars is A New Hope as far as I'm concerned. I love all the other ones, but it's A New Hope. That's Star Wars. All the rest is, let's maximise on our thing, innit? Which is fair enough. You know, I'm a musician, and when you read through contracts, you know, recording contracts, the word that people seem to have a problem with is exploit. But if you're a creative person in that sense of you're a musician, whatever, record company, if you get a property, you fucking exploit it. If you can milk every last penny out of it, that's what you do. And if you're not in the creative world, do you know what I mean, to that extent, you're not going to understand that. So all this talk about, you know, the Ewoks, it was just like a cash grab. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It was a cash grab. But that's business. That's the creative businesses. Do you know what I mean? You try to get as much out of your property as you can. But you're the haters, man. You just love to hate for the sake of hating, because that's the way you've been trained. You know, I noticed it in, you know, like the American elections. Do you know what I mean? How people was hating on Trump. And this is the ironic thing, like, all you lot shouting SJW Last Jedi, you are acting like SJWs. Do you understand that? Do you not see the irony of like shouting at SJW and you're acting like SJWs? Very narcissistic. And it's like, what does Luke say in the film? He says, to say that when the Jedi die, the Force dies is vanity. That's how you Star Wars fans are. Because how many videos, every single video I see, Star Wars is dead, Star Wars is dead, Star Wars is dead, Disney killed it. What, because you said so? Get the fuck out of here. Cunt. Get the fuck out of here. Who the fuck are you? Shall I tell you who you are? You're Mark. Do you know what I mean? Like, you put all of your hopes and dreams into your own theories of like how the film's gonna go. You spent up your money on all this bullshit. What's it called? These books and whatever. I stopped reading them because I knew they weren't Star Wars. And then I found out later, George Lucas didn't really endorse any of them things. He was just carrying the money. Good on him. What, you want to write about my thing and like put money in my pocket? Yeah. But I'm not putting that shit in my film, no. Like all that Legends and EU stuff. Yeah, great. Bullshit though. I care about the movies, because that's what changed the world. Not like the books. None of the books changed the world of anything. What, did the books change the world of publishing? No, they didn't. But Star Wars changed cinema. And it didn't change cinema because it was a great story. It wasn't. It was a bullshit story. It changed cinema because it was a world building, building a complete world that resembled our world. That was the appeal of Star Wars. Yeah, the characters, but it was Star Wars was the complete thing. It was the world, the sense of familiarity we had with it. Yo, that's like in another galaxy, but it kind of feels like here. That was Star Wars, and it was fantasy. You know, before you know George Lucas retconned it for The Empire Strikes Back. Luke and the princess, innit? That's what it was. Do you know what I mean? Luke went to rescue the princess because she's beautiful. Yeah? So, I don't know, man. Like, Star Wars fans, yeah, you're full of shit. You're full of shit, man. And like, nah, it's like you're almost like showing your true colours. Like, you know, like I say, geeks get beat up, man. They get beat up, and I understand why. Cause you're like like the way you lot go on with the Star Wars thing, yeah. Like, it's not Star Wars, man. I've seen videos like oh, what did Darth Vader have for dinner? How did the Emperor spend his time when he wasn't doing something dark side? Like, all these like stupid videos, you know what I mean? It's like, nah, brethren, you got time on your hands, innit? You got a lot of time on your hands. If you can be like making like these videos about trivial shit in imaginary, nah, you got time, man. And then like then you got those people that I could have done a better job than Rian Johnson. No, you fucking couldn't, you cunt. No, you couldn't. You know why? You're on fucking YouTube making shitty, bitching, whiny videos. You don't know about filmmaking or story. Like, that's another thing. Like, all these, so you get like all these like different kinds of like film critics and fans and stuff. The ones I hate are the ones that think they're being objective and intellectual. I saw like a video that says, "Oh, The Last Jedi is objectively bad," and then there's ones like Star Wars 47% Rotten Tomato rating. Now this, brethren, so the Rotten Tomato one, mate, get the fuck out of the room. What? Rotten Tomatoes? Oh, but it's an aggregate of like I don't give a fuck about that. I don't give a fuck if everybody in the world hates The Last Jedi. I love it. What, you think because of a number that I'm going to start watching that film or stop loving it? Rotten Tomatoes, you know. And then the other guy, oh, it's objectively bad. Get the fuck out of it. Who are you? The god of film and storytelling. What? Name a film that you've produced, written, directed. Let me see it. You see, the real Star Wars fans are people like Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams, who love film, who were so influenced by the film that they didn't just go out and buy toys, yeah, and be mindless consumers. They studied film. They learned how to make films. They get to make Star Wars films because they actually manifested their love of that film into reality by learning the craft. So they get a chance. They can make, yeah, you could say that those films are fan films, Force Awakens and Last Jedi, but they were made by fans that actually put their money and time where the mouth was. You understand? You're just bitching, being negative. I'm not saying you can't be. I'm just pointing out you're not right. Like, I'm telling you, like, in years to come, man, you're gonna look back on yourself and go, I was an absolute cunt. You are. Trust me, you are. Don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of it. Like, you actually need it, and that's the thing with The Last Jedi. Like, as soon as I saw that film, I knew what was going off. I was like, yeah, like, we need a slap. And the slap that you got from Rian Johnson, like, I also want to say, like, oh, subversion over substance. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. Get the fuck out of here. You pretentious cunt. That was the Star Wars film that needed to be made. You know what it felt like? It felt like a cleansing. I came out of there light as fuck, feeling like, yeah, Star Wars is back to where it needs to be. Because you see, this is the problem. You see all the problem with the prequels. Like I said before, the strength of Star Wars is its brevity of storytelling. The way that it just goes from, it just keeps moving. Do you know what I mean? And even like the bits of exposition in the original trilogy weren't so long-winded that it lost you or confused you. What happened with the prequels and then all of the canon and all that, like, it just made the thing a mess. It was messy. To me, like, none of the characters, how these writers wrote the characters, was not consistent with how I understood the characters from the films. And that's what's important. It's not the books. No one gives a fuck about the books. Because like I said, like, none of the books changed the world of publishing, but Star Wars, the movie, changed the world of movies. Do you understand what I'm saying? Star Wars fans, stop embarrassing yourself. Stop calling people like me a fanboy. I'm not a fanboy. Like I said, I stopped buying all that shit like in about 1995. Because it wasn't Star Wars to me. Star Wars is the movies. Do you know what I mean? Stop like making out that Star Wars is perfect. Like the original trilogy was perfect. No, it wasn't. Like, no, it wasn't, man. It wasn't. Not even Empire Strikes Back. That's not even my favourite Star Wars movie, man. Do you know what I mean? It's the one that everyone says is the best one, and I can see why. I actually think that's the one that fucked up Star Wars, personally, as much as I enjoy it, because that led to like all this going into The Last Jedi, all the predictions. Oh, I haven't talked about that. The predictions, like, so the years going on, and I'm seeing all these videos predicting this and like speculating that, and you know what? I was like, nah, man, you lot are all wrong. You know, you're shit. Rey isn't a Skywalker. Snoke isn't Plagueis. You're all 100% wrong. 100%. And I'm so glad that you was, man. Like I say, Rian Johnson slapped you up like you needed to be slapped up. You're in your, I don't know. You're grown people, man. You're grown people, and you're holding on to some. That Star Wars is like, it's, you know how long 40 years is. In one sense, it's a long time. In another sense, it ain't no time at all, man. So yeah, it's a cultural phenomenon, but it hasn't. It's not even like 100 years old, brethren. What are you talking about? It's important for some reasons, but it ain't no life and death shit. Uh, Like, Disney's not ruining your childhood. How? How can Disney ruin your childhood because it released? So your childhood, let's say your childhood was like from 1975 to 19 whatever to 1990, yeah? That's your childhood. So you're saying that by making a film in 2015, The Force Awakens, they somehow done a thing where they could go back in time and fuck with your childhood. Was your childhood solely Star Wars? Because mine wasn't. Mine was like playing with my brothers and sisters, doing shit, going on holidays, going to school. My childhood was quite complete. So if yours was just purely Star Wars, I feel bad for you, son. I feel bad for you. You chat. People saying that Disney raped him. Brethren, don't use rape, the word rape, willy-nilly like that. Or I've been abused by Disney, or I've been abused by George Lucas. Get the fuck out of here. And this is how you know that you people are shallow people with like your pretentious whatever. Do you know what I mean? That get the fuck out of here. I solely believe that you went into watching this movie wanting to hate, because I noticed it. Listen, don't get me wrong. I've been a Star Wars hater as well. Do you know what I mean? But the difference is I woke up. Do you know what I mean? I woke up to myself. Like the and I wasn't a Star Wars hater for long. What happened was that I watched the Red Letter Media prequel reviews, and they were funny as fuck, man. And I used to post them. Do you know what I mean? But you know, actually, now I watch those prequels and I love them. I absolutely love them. And it's funny because, like, you know, I go on some of these websites now, Pinterest, and I type in Star Wars, and the memes that come up, you know what the best memes are? Is the prequel trilogy. Because there's something about those characters and the way they were portrayed. You might say like the characters were shit and they were acting shit. You know, that Hayden Christensen can't act. But I love this performance, man, because, you know, liar and all that shit, man. That shit's Star Wars. It's funny. It's good. Do you know what I mean? It's good. Like, I don't give a fuck, man. The prequels are tight. I like them. I'm not even being ironic. Do you know what I mean? I like them. I like those films. But you know, like I could talk about Star Wars all day, and even talk to you now, the way that I'm talking, this isn't even really like, I could write the shit down and make notes and like go through point by point, but I ain't doing that because it ain't important. It's a fucking move for 12-year-olds, for young teenagers, and I'm just like sick of seeing grown ass people talking shit and lying, like just lying, like. But mostly, and it's the SJW thing that makes me laugh, because like I say, I'm anti SJW. Ask anybody that knows me how I feel about any of them people there. Yeah, ask, and they'll tell you about me. Like, I'm not in it. I'm not having none of it. Do you know what I mean? The feminists, the Black Lives Matter, I'm not having none of it. Not into it. Yeah. So for me to defend The Last Jedi, which you lot are calling an SJW film, there's bullshit somewhere in there, and I know it's not with me, because I know what I'm talking about. Like, you see, you lot are jumping on the SJW bandwagon from like 2015. I studied the shit 20 years ago. I studied Marxism. I studied feminism. I studied all those things. You lot are Johnny come latelys, man. Don't try and tell me about SJW. I was taught by Marxists, and I figured out very quickly that all I had to do to get good marks, to get my degree, was just talk some shit. White people are bad, black people are good. There you go. I worked it out. You know what I mean? So don't try and tell me like I don't know about SJW. I know more than you, mate. Ask anybody. Anybody that knows me will tell you, yo, my man, he's heavy on that shit. He knows. From objectivism to whatever subject you want to talk about. Philosophy. Religion. Yeah? Filmmaking. Art. Art techniques. Music. Brethren, don't get me fucking started. Yeah, don't. So the SJW thing, I'll just call it what it is. It's some follow fashion thing. You know better than the SJWs. In fact, you're kind of worse, because you haven't got the self-awareness to realise that you're acting in exactly the same way that they did when Trump was elected. You know, the bread I said was destroying the Daisy Ridley figure. He's no different to the woman that you see screaming at the Women's March, as far as I'm concerned. Both grown people acting like complete imbeciles. A lie? You can't see yourself. This means, to me, and this just shows that, like, and you know, the whole theme of like The Last Jedi was failure. Well, yeah, like, the Star Wars films failed to teach you bumbleclot rotted idiots anything. because the way you're behaving, it don't sound like you watch Star Wars to me, or understand Star Wars. Because Star Wars is about character development, growth. It's not about Sith. The Sith are the most boring thing. Like, what is it? Something dark side. Family Guy. That's a Sith. Fuck off. Boring. It's a plot device. I don't give a fuck about the Sith. Yeah, like I like the prequels because, you know, Anakin was more than a Sith. He was like a Jedi that went into the Sith. You know what I mean? But the Sith are boring. Darkness is boring. Like, I want it all dark. No, you're just older and you think like, by watch something. Get the fuck out of here. Dark doesn't mean good. Dark doesn't mean good. Star Wars isn't supposed to be dark. There's supposed to be like a bit of darkness in it, but it's not like it's supposed to be like the scent. You know, no, you're getting it wrong. And you notice like everybody likes Sith. Everybody likes, yeah, as a product device, I like it. But I don't look at Darth Maul and think, oh, he's a badass. And I just think like he's a good plot device. He's a good villain, a good antagonist. I don't get hung up on all them things like you lot. But anyway, I got to go and do some real shit, man. So that was my fuck the Star Wars fans rant. Car, you're like if I see anybody anyway, I'm just gonna slap you. Nah, not really. Nah, it's all love, man. Like it's a kids movie. Yeah, and all I'm saying is grow up in it. Just grow up. Just grow up. Listen to yourselves and be honest. You're a dick. Don't be fearful of that. It's all right. It's all right. We're all dicks.